with the few episodes poured out of Slipstream Racing Series, it's time to continue the Challenge Series. I really should have come up with a different ending terminology. It should be Slipstream Racing Circuit or something, because they're just both called Series. We have the... Well, it's the last tier, yes, but it is not the final championship of Challenge Series. Technically, Challenge Series is just an ongoing, indefinite thing that happens and keeps developing on and on. These 6 tiers aren't really like the end-all, be-all of the series. These are just kind of the outlines for vehicle selection for future episodes. And probably will not all be, there will probably not be this many rounds. They'll probably all be 12 in the future. They'll probably all be these same 12 rounds that you're about to see here. At most, they would be 15, because this Tier S doesn't have Black Cat County or the Highlands. And it could also have, like, Classic Monza, or something like that. Or maybe 16. It's pushing it, but it could maybe be 16. Actually, it probably should be 16, because I do 4 races an episode. So, yeah, it could be at most 16. Let's see here. Let's briefly go over the drivers. Eric Wojciechowski drives a Ferrari FXXK. They say it's FXX. I just say double FXX. It has a catchier ring to it. Yoshiro Casquette is back after being missing for at least a couple of tiers. So they're driving the Maserati MC12. I don't even know what I was going to say. Gina, you know, one of the main founders of the Challenge Series, has been absent since Tier B. They finally made their return on a Mazda 787. Ryan Wolf is attending in a McLaren P1 GTR. Diedrich Hammer, another one of Thrasher's crew, is driving a Sauber C9 Mercedes-Benz. Taylor Lynn is in the Lotus 72D, a Formula 1 race car from the 80s. Because if it were a modern-day Formula 1 car, nothing would really have a chance unless you had the Porsche 919 Evo, which this game doesn't have that, so... Then we have Diedrich Schwartz in the Porsche GT198. Stephanie Kaiser in the Porsche 962C Longtail. Riley Blanchard sticking with her Corvette because she doesn't really have an alternative in this kind of tier, and the C7R actually kind of has... It has better staying power than you'd think up here. There's been quite a bit of test racing because these cars are obviously very potent. Well, the Corvette is easier to drive than everything else in the category, so that's one benefit on its own. We have Darius, who's back in also a 787B. Travis Wild, driving the Short Tail 962. The only real difference, the long tail has much better top speed. The short tail, I would imagine, would have some better handling. Isabella Flynn, also in the Lotus 72D. Ivan Sotokov is in a Sauber C9 Mercedes. I think I might have spelled that wrong. No, I didn't. Sam Miyako Akatsumi is in the BMW Z4. And finally is myself in the Pagani Zonda R. And Tier S, quite a bit different. Well, not quite a bit, but it has some differences. The schedule is turned down to a 12 race calendar featuring only real-life racetracks, and for the most part, they follow a geographic order. If you were to look at a map of Europe, it basically goes from east to west, but it kind of moves north and south freely, more or less. Obviously it gets a bit complicated when you reach, you know, just that one track in North America out of nowhere. And it ends with, that will be probably 2 laps around the Nordschleife. So I'm going to change that as I end the recording. So we have arrived at the starting grid of Catalunya, Barcelona. That's supposed to be said the other way around, but whatever. The other 2 major things that should be noted about this championship. The first, this is kind of a divided class. I am fully aware that there is a very large pace gap between many of these cars. And there's not very much of an in-between. There's the ones that are very competitive, and the group that should win every race, and then there's just the ones that aren't. I'll just kind of mention the ones that should be in that group. The Saubers should be in that group. Schwartz should probably be in that group. The P1 of Ryan Wolf should probably be up there, and the 787Bs would probably be up there. The 962C Longtail specifically probably will be, but the short tail will only really be there at downforce oriented or slow speed tracks. So we have realistically 6 people that should be winning a race, maybe 7, because the GT198 is kind of on the lower end of that spectrum. And then there's a couple of cars that are vaguely in the middle, and then there's the bottom tier that probably won't score many points, even if they get favorable starting grid spots. And believe it or not, Riley isn't one of those in that group. That group is probably the GT3 and the Ferrari or the Formula 1 cars, and myself. The FXXK doesn't have the greatest handling, however, as you can see, very good off the getaway. The FXX throws all else out the window and seems to focus almost entirely on accelerating as quickly as possible. It has no regard for good cornering ability, and the top speed I don't really know, but you'd never get there anyway on a racetrack. But the acceleration this thing possesses is wild. Speaking of wild, unintentional segue, here comes Travis to take the lead at this track, which is kind of favorable for handling-based cars. Not that the Group C cars are exactly filled with downforce, but the Group C car, especially the short tail here, should be a little bit better at cornering than the FXX. As for what car is the best in the category, it is a very even battle between the Mazda 787 and this car. So that's 4 cars that are pretty much on a dead even playing field. As Ryan Wolf just I don't remember if he's defending or overtaking, but he didn't get ahead of Schwartz just there. Everything else aside, the only reason Miyako is even here is because I needed a 15th car. And the F1 cars are getting a little bit off track. Yeah, the ultimate love it or hate it engine noise in the world of motorsports, that of the Mazda 787B. I mean, I don't really care often much for engine sounds, but it's a Mazda, so I can't exactly say no. two close friends kind of fighting-ish for the lead. I wouldn't call that fighting, I would more or less call it contesting. In the same way you like contest point capture on a shooter game, where you're not actually actively trying to kill the guy that's trying to take the point over. You're just kind of standing there so they can't take it. It's pretty much what Travis is doing right now. He's just sitting here so Eric can't win the race for free. We got a little 3-pack here of cars. Ryan Wolf is going to absolutely send it on Schwartz. Does he make the pass stick this time? He's going to try it for double points. Just about run Ivan off the road. And no, Dietrich will now use this opportunity with Ivan being thrown off. He's going to try and pass. On the outside of a chicane, though, it apparently worked brilliantly. Didn't think that'd be who'd win that, but here we are. And the P1 also has very good top speed. But once again, it comes up short. And it's probably got by far the best power on the grid, but comes up drastically short in the handling department due to its weight. No doubt in my mind, the Z4 is the worst car in the category. It's starting 14th, did it no favors. The F1 racers aren't really all that much better. You'd think, oh, F1 car, that thing's probably going to destroy everything. Back in, like, 1985, they didn't really have the most advanced technology yet. I don't even know if it was 85, I'm not really sure exactly, but pre-90s, I know that at the very least. I think it's before 85, actually. I don't think it's actually 1972. I think 72 is supposed to represent how many years Lotus had existed, not how many F1 chassis it had created. I could probably look it up, actually. If if I sense a time where not much is happening, I can probably try and look it up. What year the 72D raced. Travis vaguely persistent, but the horsepower from the FXX is going to make it almost impossible for him to pass. Schwartz has the fastest car on the track, at least for that lap. And yet, even despite this, he didn't really get all that far ahead of Ryan Wolf either. Riley was fighting to remain in points, but I think those dreams have dissipated. I don't think there's really any chance he gets back into the points by now. Perhaps I was just wrong. I thought the C7R was actually more competitive towards the middle of the pack, but no. I think that car is a solid 11th place. Which is kind of unfortunate because that's, you know, like you need 10th to score. And there goes Darius Pirelli overtaking... Well, was clear of Stephanie, went for bonus points and got Gina for his troubles as well. They've been getting very daring into that hairpin today. We had about 3 or 4 other drivers show up attempting to join this particular championship. However, they don't exactly have any kind of recognition in this level of the playing field. or it is basically just to say, they don't, I'm not to say they don't belong in this tier, but they don't. They're still trying to work their way through the lower divisions, and they were going to bite off way more than they could ever hope to chew if they're trying to enter the top division of the series. I mean, heck, one of the two hadn't even, one of the three or four hadn't even won a race yet. I don't actually know exactly how many there were because I wasn't the one that handled that. That was mostly Nitori's. Nitori's job was managing that. That's why she made no attempt to start the championship herself. Yeah? Very noisy behind Ivan there. Not Dietrich. Dietrich's further back than that. Looks like, well, Travis kept him honest, but Eric is going to win from the pole position. Perhaps with all of that acceleration, it's not too much of a surprise that this is the case. And Gina is going to be the last one to score any points out of the race. Move ahead now to Silverstone. Oh dear. Well, now Eric has been punished. Instead of starting on pole, he will start dead last. Yoshiro is on pole. Riley is going to start second again, but at Silverstone, it's going to be even harder than it was at Spa to maintain that place. Though she does have, the two F1 cars as company behind her to maybe attempt to hold off some of the fastest cars for even a minute. But I don't really think she can really, I don't really think they can do that for much longer than that. Yoshiro not amazing off the start. So that's going to give Riley the lead, and Dietrich Hammer will take second from her as well. Hammer shouldn't really have many issues dispatching of said Corvette, but surprisingly doesn't handle it right there and then. Oh, the two F1 cars about ran into each other. Isabella gets wide. That's going to give Gina a pretty glaring opportunity there. Ryan is up 4 places from his starting position, and we're not even into Sector 2 yet. What a start. What happened to... There's no way that nothing was weird from Ivan's end if he's already in last from starting 7th. Yep. Oh, yep. Yep. I see precisely what has happened. Gina sort of squeezed Stephanie onto the curb there. And neither one could really go any lower, and then Gina, they both just kind of slid up. Well, no, they're just, I don't even know, but basically what it is the track kind of has to turn there. Neither of those two really gave each other the room to do that. And they both just kind of slid all the way up into Ivan. So there was not a ton he could do there. Those two were just kind of off. And Gina, despite almost invariably being the cause of that, in my mind, is the one that benefited from it because she's the one that didn't end up in the runoff area. Now Riley's still somehow holding the lead. I don't know if Hammer just, yep, the commentator's curse. There it goes. He was just waiting. I would say he's waiting for his moment, but that didn't really seem like the moment to me, out of all places. That blue Corvette again, of all places. And Darius will be the next to dispose of her. Gina will pass Yoshiro on the straightaway as well. It's pretty much business as usual. This is kind of more what I expected, minus the Corvette running third. And the only reason it's not more dramatically swinging in one way towards the Group C style of car is because of what happened on lap 1 between 3 of them. I don't know how Riley's defended that, to be honest. I mean, there's not much doubt in my mind. Obviously, Riley is one of the better drivers, despite her young age. I mean, she's only like 18. She's like the second youngest driver here besides Narashi. And even with that in mind, now she's not nearly as good as Blanche as Riley is, so it's just like, how? But, I mean, she's in a C7R, keeping a Group C racer vaguely at bay, but that's going to end there. But pushed her off the track to keep on trying, keep holding it, but it didn't work. And also, battle for the lead between Hammer and Darius. Looks like Darius really is gonna be the victor of that. Meanwhile, Ryan Wolf is now up to 6th from starting last. Also, I suppose that crash between those 3 cars probably helped him gain places early on. That's a bold move. Well, I guess if it goes wrong, there's plenty of space to correct it out there, but we didn't need it. And Ryan Wolf will be on his way with 5th place. And don't give it too long, he'll probably be around Riley as well for 4th. From one noisy boy to the other, Dietrich Hammer is going to need an aspirin by the end of this race, with these rotary engines hunting him down and possibly overtaking him. Yep. At least I won't have to hear it much longer. Oh my god, Riley about ran into him too, but Ryan will now claim 4th place. And he'll be on his way to try and get to the Group C's. I don't know how to use that overlay. I still don't know how to use this overlay. There we go. That's the car I'm looking for. Shiro's still hanging on to Riley's bumper for dear life, seemingly, at this point. Shockingly, Miyako, once again back to last. I would say he didn't recover as well as I thought he would, but at the same time, he lost quite a few seconds off of that. And I think from here, he's still more than capable of at least bringing home a point or two. Schwartz, oh my god, about clipped her rear wheel. Eric started last himself and has now repositioned himself in a points position, but not many points. Another thing to note, I don't actually know if the AI can get them, but penalties are turned on for this championship, and this one in particular. Being kind of the highest echelon of Challenge Series competition, given also the World Tour aspect, I also figured try penalties to see if the AI get them and end up getting, reprimanded for hitting each other. As rarely as that honestly happens, it is still a thing, obviously. But I don't really know if the game gives collision penalties. It may just be track limit penalties, in which case the AI obviously aren't really going to get very many of those under normal circumstances. Now contending with Travis is Riley, and Get around Yoshiro, I assume down the back straight. Ryan Wolf is all over Hammer's mirrors right now. Oh! They make collision. Yes. No. They make contact. That's the word. The two German drivers on the grid. Here comes Travis attempting to overtake Riley. But Riley has nerves of steel and puts her car still on the outside, and she's not done yet. Not just the two, there's three of them. I forgot Schwartz is also here. Schwartz about ran into Eric just there. And yeah, not much. Riley has run out of time for that one. It's gonna be a 787B 1-2 finish if things continue as they are. Ryan Wolf overtook Hammer. If he can somehow make up like 5 seconds in one lap, I highly doubt that'll happen. But if it does, then he can spoil what I just said. But oh, it's not 5 seconds at all. No, it's 10. Heavens. Eric had a peek. Oh, he's having one more than just a peeky, but oh, saves it. I mean, if he did spin there, it would have been mostly his fault. No. Kaiser is German, isn't she? I don't actually remember, but I think she might be. So that means that of the 15 drivers, 4 of them might be. There may be 4 of them that are German. I don't actually know. I think Stephanie. Stephanie is German. My throat is dying on me. And go! Eric is losing control. Courteous of Stephanie to wait for him to get back on the track. Probably because he didn't really give her a choice. But still. And here comes Darius to win at Silverstone. Fellow Mazda driver is going to take second place, and Ryan Wolf will be the lone not Mazda to take a podium position finish. And big help from the starting grid, but Riley in the Tier E car, basically, is going to take 6th place. And Schwartz took the last points paying position. Ivan doesn't seem to have been too far from points. It's Oh my goodness, it's a four-way tie for the points lead at 18 apiece. And then it's 5 back to Gina, 5th place in points. And then it's all just blah from there. Anyway, Miyako and the F1 cars still have yet to score. I would be very surprised if the F1 cars ever scored. Actually, I'd be surprised if any of those 3 scored. And then I almost said, and then me. Well, no, me has scored, and then the other me is just my username because I have to still be on the track. If I were smart, I'd have memorized exactly who those 4 tied drivers were. But, I don't. I do know that, the leader of the 4 on the starting grid is Eric. And Gina's 5th in points. I'm pretty sure Wolf and well, I know Darius is tied because he just won the last race. Ryan Wolf, I think, would be one of them as well because he finished high in both races but didn't win either of them. I want to say might be... No, there's no way it's Ivan, because he didn't even score in the last race. It couldn't be him. I'm thinking it's Schwartz. So, yeah, Eric should have a pretty easy time taking the points lead here at Brands Hatch. It's a bit of a morning British fog. It's kind of screwing with the lighting a bit up there. Also, the game put Riley on pole again. This is like rigged nonsense. They put me on the front row with her, and I just chickened all the way out of just getting ahead of her. And just overtake cars, Forehead. Just drive faster. My goodness, Travis just absolutely sent that through that corner. No regard. Here comes Eric to crash the party between me and Riley. Well, apparently I myself have already passed. Gonna force Riley just about into the gravel. Eric is supposed to be the one that's supposed to be more calculated and patient, but he's wasting no time. It also started Yoshiro in 3rd again. For honestly, considering me, Riley, and Yoshiro kind of need all the help we can get, and it's not really going to swing the championship by cars like ours starting near the front. I'm not really going to say anything against it, especially when one of them is me. Because Riley was about to try and pass, or no, Yoshiro was about to try and pass Riley, but nothing doing, and now she's got Gina to contend with behind her. Eric has not overtaken me yet, but considering we are about to reach a straightaway, I'd be surprised if it takes much longer. I got a bit of acceleration in the Zonda R, but I don't think it's enough to keep this thing behind me for the whole race. Especially since we've got a 6-lap event, because the laps here are shorter than they are at Barcelona, or especially at Silverstone. Darius takes the place on Ryan Wolf. That's kind of strange. Actually, no, they both took one on Schwartz. Also kind of vaguely strange. But this is kind of the battle for second in points. If any of those drivers can score, they'll be second in points. They have very little hope of keeping up with Eric in any regard, because he's going to score at least 12 points if he doesn't wreck the car. And I'd be surprised if he found a way to do that, so... If anything, if he is smart, he actually kind of maybe waits, unless I screw up in front of him, and just doesn't bother trying to pass me, because he doesn't really have to. Gina has cleared Yoshiro. Her next move should be even easier than that one. I would have waited till the back straight, but this also works. Dirt is... Now here is Eric. My goodness. Eric once again forces me into the gravel. I really wish the penalty system kind of looked at stuff like that, because that's... it's sketchy, I would say. But even in other games, they don't exactly evaluate based on what almost happened, or contact that probably would have happened. It only evaluates based on contact that did happen. So there you go. Ryan's apparently been in a crash or two. Why am I not all that surprised? He's got so much freaking horsepower anyway. Certainly not helping his case as far as keeping his car under wraps. Darius sends it on Travis. Gets hooked on the curb a bit, but I think he's going to take the place away. And Ryan Wolf's just going to follow suit. Strangely enough, despite the fact the short tail would be almost designed for a track like this, Stephanie is still ahead of Travis. I guess they were higher on the starting grid. No, they weren't. Okay. Travis must have just... Travis isn't getting complacent now that he's got 2 championships. Not very much point in doing that. Eric off to a pretty comfortable lead, but he's not the fastest car on track. However, even with that said, Gina still has to pass me. And if Eric struggled to pass me, I can't imagine Gina's gonna find it all that much easier. Has Miyako finished anywhere other than last yet? Again, the starting grid not helping, but still, I mean, come on. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Ravi would be in that same position, if she would stop starting on the front row and crap like that. Back is astronomically itchy, but I can't seem to scratch it enough because I don't have any fingernails. So there you go. She's still not found a way around me yet. As Eric with his probably there's a helicopter over there. I've never noticed that little helicopter there. Huh. On the F1 games, those would be flying around. Gina will have one last shot to overtake me. I think based on where this kind of collective is, with Schwartz out of the points entirely, I think he's the 1/4 in points. And Darius and Ryan Wolf running in the middle of the pack. Gina getting ahead of me could put her second in points. Or maybe at least probably tied for second in points, or right behind second in points. But she doesn't do it here, and she hasn't. I don't think it's going to be on the cards. I didn't even notice that Riley was still in 4th. She hasn't had any competition up here, and anytime she has, they've just driven away, and, you know, it's just been that. This kind of second group hadn't caught her yet because they were all starting near the back of the grid. And Yoshiro helped in the way that, well, she didn't stay ahead of them, but she kept them at bay for the first half of the track, allowing Riley to probably take another 5th place and defy odds once more. Just think if Chevrolet made like some kind of prototype racer, if they had like a Cadillac LMP on this game, Riley would probably be your points leader right about now. But even in just the GTE Corvette, she's managing points finishes. The last point will go to Taylor. I just even said I'd be surprised if the F1 cars scored, and then lo and behold, Taylor brings home 1 point. Who is the points leader now? Well, I know it's Eric. Gina is 1 ahead for 2nd, above Darius, and Ryan is 4th. I think it may have actually been Travis, who was 4th in points, and he didn't score any more points than Schwartz did, so really, yeah, Schwartz ain't up there. He's tied with Riley. So Isabella and Miyako. Isabella, no. I mean, I guess I really couldn't blame her. She didn't really have the best card dealt to her here. Lotus, very good in the early game, but they don't seem much help at the end. And now we head to Spa to finish off the episode. The game has finally elected to take Riley down a peg. I don't think she'll be scoring points from 11th on the grid. It is Gina on pole, me alongside her. Eric able to continue his run at the championship with starting 3rd, which is effectively starting 2nd, because I'd be surprised if he didn't get ahead of me. Never mind, I did not realize the Pagani had takeoff like that. Do I fathom it'll last for very long? No. Not with this behind me at Spa. But, I mean, maybe someone dies, who knows. Someone crashes, not someone dies literally, but... For the briefest moment, I thought they would, considering Gina and Eric were at a dead heat as they approached Eau Rouge. Now 190 for Eric down that long straightaway, compared to probably Ryan, I would say 170, maybe 175. Ryan equally terrifying around this track. The P1's got the most acceleration on anything on the racetrack. It's just so heavy, I imagine, that it, well, is not, you know, that's what brings it back in line with everything else on the track. The FXX, probably a bit lighter, but not quite as much power, and also not quite as much downforce on it. What's funny is the Zonda R looks like it'd be a car among the same caliber as those two, but honestly the Zonda R is kind of just like it's like a balanced package. It doesn't really lean towards power or towards grip. It just kind of exists. Jack of all trades, I guess, because obviously it's not doing either thing poorly if I'm leading the race, and when I just came 3rd at Brands Hatch. But it's not spectacular. I'm just fast enough to keep Eric's AI from doing anything crazy for now. But I'd be surprised if this lead lasted to Sector 2 of the next lap. Because that back straightaway, Eric is going to eat me like Pac-Man eats the little dots. Or ghosts. I could just said the darn ghosts. And Riley is already down to last place. Who knows, for once it may not be Miyako that finishes last. But considering she started 10th, Riley started 11th. Oh, goodness. Yep, see you later, Eric. Not a darn thing I can do. Not quite the same power figures as the FXX. I'm not sure if Gina can necessarily get around to me under present circumstances. I'm not 100% sure. I think it would eventually happen, but we've only have so many laps in the race. As I'm beginning a train behind me that's going from 2nd to 6th. I apparently have the power advantage over Group C cars. This is honestly a surprise to me, or at least the acceleration advantage. Clearly I do not have the handling I thought that I did. But, well, I need more than anything, I need the power to stay ahead. It's the give and take of it too. Handling cars are better for making qualifying laps, if qualifying were actually a thing in the Challenge Series. And they allow you to race more aggressively by being able to make and stick moves that heavier and more powerful cars can't do. However, power-based vehicles are kind of your defensive option, because you can do stuff like that and not be passed. But then I don't have the handling of Gina, so if that happens, and I get overtaken. As Diedrich has joined the train just as soon as Gina has derailed it. Ivan seems to be not far behind it either. And Schwartz may get in on it, may not. I don't think he will, though. I don't think he'll reach the train in time. Yeah, and I don't think there'll be much that I can do about Ryan Wolf either. Once we get down that straightaway after Eau Rouge, the Kennel Straight, not a chance. The horsepower on this P1 is too much. But if Stephanie does something like that and throws him off, it'll probably help me a little bit. Stephanie reaping the benefits of having chosen the long tail model. Gina sets a faster lap time than Eric by about 7/10. However, you'd have to catch faster than that to have any chance of passing him. Here we go again. Goodbye. Don't even attempt to resist. My tablet was distracting me by finishing its charging and showing me Discord. Again, not totally sure if Stephanie can get around me, but I think she will be able to on the back straightaway. I don't know, it's like, it is the back straight, but just not, because it's the first half of the track. So it's weird. This would be the back straightaway, but it's not even a passing zone, really. I'm going to be a bit of a liar. Yep. I guess it is a passing zone. Interesting. Let me just let off and not get demolished real quick, you know? Travis has finally clawed his way into points, and not really sure what that interaction was. I mean, Gina's would be in range to get to him by the end of the lap, but I don't imagine that you'd be able to pass him in time, especially not when he has so much more power than you. You will not be able to reach him in a straight line. You have to rely on the corners, which we've reached them now, so Gina will be getting noticeably closer. But considering the track will end with a long straightaway and then just a chicane, basically, not looking fantastic. It was also overtaken by Darius. I should still be fine to score, I'm mostly certain, because, yeah, 10th place is here. And just by nature, I think I'll probably stack up these three a little bit, but being in their way in the corner. So they will probably contend with each other at least a little. That's probably the goal. Whether I will manage this, I don't know. It certainly looks like it. Gina is there. Does she try something stupid into the chicane and make it stick, though? That's her only chance. She tries nothing of the sort. Okay, what a chicken. So Eric is going to win once again. First and second in points, finish first and second in the race. This feels more like F1 than Assetto Corsa. Once again, Ryan Wolf manages to slither his way onto the podium. Stephanie and Darius in very close company. I will get 6th. There's not really a joke there, I am 6th. Travis will take the last points position. Would have created probably another Riker train had there been more laps in the event. And Miyako still found a way to finish last, if anybody was wondering. This would be a championship to forget for her, I imagine. 13-point lead for Eric over everybody else. Gina theoretically is still within one race worth of points, but Eric has mostly had a flawless, or if not a flawless run, he's won the last 2 races and has managed at least 9 points in the other 2, or in each of the other 2. So odds are his lowest finish may be 6th. I think it's actually 5th. It might be like 10 and 8. I'm not entirely sure. It'd be easier for the viewers to figure it out. You can rewind the video, or me to figure it out if I rewatch the video after I'm done with it.